Yo, this is how you can make this 3D money stack effect. I'll be showing you how to turn this effect into a transition as well. You can do this effect with any 3D model you like. I made an Element 3D pack that you guys can download completely for free, which also includes the money stack model used in this video. If you guys want more free stuff like this, make sure to be subscribed and leave a like on the video. I upload high quality tutorials every week, and yeah, that's enough of me yapping, and let's get into it. So because there's a lot of people moving around, we don't want the camera tracker to focus on the people moving around. We want it to focus onto the table by simply just creating a mask. Just a really simple rough mask here. After you've done your rough mask, you want to go to the mask 1 here and just unwind it, and then click on the stopwatch, scrub through, reposition it. We're going to change it from add to none so you can see the mask properly. So once you've created your mask, right click, go to pre-compose, select move all attributes into new composition, and for the name, I'm just going to name it to track, and then click enter. Also, I forgot to re-enable the mask, so go into the track comp that we just made, change it from none to add. I'm going to add on brightness and contrast. I'm just going to up the contrast all the way and decrease the brightness so those whites aren't clipping. Go back out of it and we get something like this. Just add on the 3D camera tracker effect. Go down here and click on detailed analysis. So once you've tracked your footage, you may notice you've got a bunch of tracking points. If you don't, just make sure you select the clip and the 3D camera track layer. If you still can't see them, go up to view and then go down to show layer controls. Make sure that's turned on. Now the green ones are the most accurate tracking points you want to use, and the red ones are the least accurate. You don't want to use any of the red ones. Just try and stick to the green ones. So I'm just going to select 3 of these, and as you can see, we get a target nice and flat. Make sure when you do select your tracking points, make sure the target is nice and flat, not like crooked like this. I'm going to select 3 of these, right click on create null end camera. Go to our track layer, hide this, and if we scrub through here, now we have a null that's tracked onto this plate pretty well. Now we just want to create our solids. I'm going to rename this to element and throw on element 3D. After you've thrown on element, click on scene setup here. I'm going to go to file, import 3D objects. Go into the tutorial files, you can find this money stack bundle obj file. Click open and click OK. Might not see anything. Go down to normalize size, and as you can see, it's white. It doesn't really have any textures. Go down to here and click on the money matte where it says diffuse under textures. Click on this where it says load texture, click on the arrow and click on load from file. In the tutorial folder, there's a money texture right here. You want to select that one and click open. Click OK and click OK. Click OK. Now it's not tracked properly because we haven't set the position correctly. So we want to go into the null here, click P, go up to the element here and go to group 1. And go to particle replicator, go to the null here and copy the position and then paste it into the XY. Go to particle look, change the particle size. We can just up that to like, 50. Go to particle count, change this to 16. Go to replicator effects and go to scatter. I'm just going to change the scatter X to 600. We'll go 300 for the Y, pretty much scattering out the particle count that we just upped before in different directions. So we've got it on the X and Y axis now. And if we scatter up the Z to 1000, now we've got that Z scatter. I'm just going to reposition this so it's in the center. Now once you reposition it, I'm just going to up the scatter count too. And we can go back down to particle rotation where it says rotation random. And as you can see, they're rotating. I'm going to scroll down here and go to render settings, go to physical environment, and for the override layer, select the actual footage that we're using and go down to ambient occlusion and click on enable AO. And then for the SSAO intensity, just bump it up to 50. Now we're going to go to the end of the clip here. So next we want to play with the particle replicator position and the particle rotation. We want to play with it so then the bill comes onto the screen and covers it fully. So once you have something like this where the bill covers the screen, you want to click on the stopwatch where it says rotation random. So you want to select both of these keyframes here and right click and go to keyframe assistant and then click on easy ease. Then go into the graph editor and you want to select the first keyframe and grab the handle and pull it down, and then you want to grab this handle and pull it up a little bit, but not like that, something like this. As you can see, that's probably a little bit too sharp. You can just sort of play around with the curve so it's a little bit more smooth, make this softer. Next you want to bring in your second clip and select the elements and the 3D tracker, extend it by a couple of frames. Select the element layer and go to particle replicator, keyframe the position X, Y, go a couple of frames, just move the money so it ends on the other side of the screen, like this. And then as you can see, we still have this money stack or models in the background as well. We don't want that. Do Ctrl-Shift-D, select this layer here, scroll down to see camera cutoff, and change it to 900. Next, you want to click on the stopwatch here and position it so it fully covers the screen. Go to the ends, position it so it completely goes off the screen. Keyframe the opacity from 100 to 0. That'll make it look more smooth. Select the 3D camera tracker, go into the properties, camera options, turn on depth of field, go to the aperture and turn it all the way up so we can see where the focus distance is. We want to turn up the focus distance until the money that's furthest in the back is fully in focus. Change the aperture to something like 700. Go a couple frames before the transition happens, create a marker. Go into the 3D camera tracker, go to camera options, and where it says focus distance, put a stopwatch on that. Go to 1 frame before the transition happens and change the focus distance to something like 450. You just want to make sure that this is in focus. Go back and put a stopwatch on the aperture, and we can just decrease the aperture a little bit so it's not as harsh. Now we need to create an adjustment layer. Put on camera lens blur and drag it down so it's underneath the 3D property, so it's the size of our transition. Go onto it and where it says blur radius, change this to 0 and hit the stopwatch. Go towards where the transition happens and then up the blur radius to something like 18. And then go extend this maybe like a couple of frames more, and then for this frame bring it back down to 0. So in the tutorial files you also find a PSD that you can edit. So if you zoom in here, you got this text that you can edit and change to whatever you like. When you're done, just go File, Export, Quick Export as PNG, and then you can just save it to whatever you want. Then go back into After Effects and then go onto the element layer here, Scene Setup, and then for the diffuse, select that texture that we just made before, this one right here. Okay, as you can see, text is on there. Thank you for those who made it to the end of the video. If you have any video suggestions or you need help with something, leave a comment down below and I'll try my best to help you. If you learned something, drop a like and subscribe, and yeah, I'll see you next time guys.